This, just kidding guys, this is my 1992 Chevrolet Camaro. Now they say that a car project is never truly done, but I think those are guys that are like out chasing like horsepower numbers and like always modifying the engine and breaking the engine and doing things to it. That's not me. This has the stock engine in it, the regular 305 TBI engine, nothing fancy there, but I have done a lot of other mods to this car with the main goal of restoring the car, making everything nice, making suspension nice, just making the car cool in general, and then doing a little bit of cool touches. Here in a second, I'm gonna grab that camera and I'm gonna walk around the car and show you all the modifications I've done to it. You'll see a lot of B-roll in the video. All the B-roll that you see is from previous videos I've done on this Camaro. This should be like episode 41 of this, making kind of like finalizing the project. There'll be a few small more things to come, but anything you see in the B-roll, there is a whole video attached in detail showing you how I did that. And everything that I bought, I'll try to link down below so you don't have to go hunting for it. So if you saw a thing in the video and you're like, wow, where do I get that? Just look in the description and I'll pin it as the top comment as well, a bunch of links of where to buy the stuff at. You'll notice I have a Hawks shirt on. If you guys know third gen Camaros, Hawks used to be just like a third gen site. Now they have a bunch of other car parts, but Hawks is a great place. Even if you're not trying to buy something, Hawks is a great resource to show you what all parts are available. So if you want to know every single subframe connector, every single lowering spring that's available for this car, just go to Hawks and they have like a catalog of everything. And a lot of times they have the prices that'll beat a lot of the competition. And a lot of the stuff that's on this car came from Hawks, so shout out to Hawks. All right, first we're going to start off with interior and exterior lighting mods. And to do that, you're going to see some clips from later on today when I'm filming. So let's get right to that. Okay, for the exterior lighting stuff, the main stuff you're going to see is the daytime running lights and then the halos around the headlights, right? So this is the headlights, the whole front of the car normal, and this is when I pull my knob halfway and activate the RLs. It also activates the halo lights, and then this is headlights, daytime running lights, nothing. So the daytime running lights consist of 4 headlights, and each one of them has a halo built in around the edge of the light. I'll link those down below. This is a very, very cool product. This is from Starbuck Innovation. This is an LED front blinker / daytime running light. When I turn my blinker on, you're gonna see. So these are very cool because they have a sleek look to them, but they also have a function. There's this grill insert in here, and there's a hollow tube in here basically. And this basically is like a hollow air inlet tube where the back side of this, as you'll see in the B-roll, has a air outlet on it, which a lot of people use to duct to their brakes. Will cool the brakes down, but you can also duct it to the inside of your engine bay, which is what I'll be eventually doing. Okay, as far as interior lighting mods go, I have a JVC unit in here. I used to have an Alpine unit, but the JVC seems to be more reliable with the Bluetooth and stuff, and this is the KD X380 BTS. Has a great knob, sounds great. And then a thing I bought a long time ago is this HU mount. It's called HU mount, and I think that website is like humount.com. I'll link it down below. This gives you this lighted bezel, I guess, to put around your radio. Some people will put like a double din in here. I wanted to put a single din, and you can get this, which really dresses up the area. So you get this Camaro logo in here. Mine says Camaro Chevrolet, and it lights up red. And then when I have my low beams, or my not my low beams, my daytime running lights, my front running lights, whatever you'd want to call them on, this lights up underneath. I rigged up a whole light underneath this cup holder right here, which has a custom transparent logo thing. Shipsoft makes this piece, this whole cup holder, and they put this in here, and you have to order it and make sure you tell the guy you want the one with the transparent background so you can rig up an LED light. I did a video on this like 2 months ago on how to do that. It's pretty easy. And then of course you have the shifter indication stuff, which lights up, all matches kind of like the gauges and everything up here. And yeah, that's my interior lighting stuff. And then now you're going to see me back in the daytime explaining all the other modifications to the car. So let's start with the interior. First things you're gonna notice are going to be like the steering wheel. I have a new dash pad. This is a reproduction dash pad. I also have a really good condition OEM dash pad, but I haven't put it on here yet. And there's things I have to do, like transfer over the side vents from this. I don't remember where I got this dash pad though. I know it was like 250 or 300 bucks, but there's a company that makes reproduction dash pads, and it's not just like the cover, it's the actual whole dash, which is cool. HU mount you saw in the last video, mine says Camaro Chevrolet right there, and it lights up like you saw. The steering wheel was an evolution, so I first started with the Grant steering wheel, and that was cool, but it was a really small circumference, I guess is what you would say. So it was like where this one is where this one is this big, that one was like this big, and it was like weird to turn. It was like I had to turn it like 4 times to get anything done, and it didn't feel good, right? I guess it felt good initially, but once I started having to use it a lot, I didn't like it that much. Then I went to a Cavalier steering wheel of this era. It's a really popular mod for these, is you use a Cavalier steering wheel, and I liked that. But finding one is a little bit hard, especially finding one in good conditions, a little bit hard. And then I came up with the idea to do this. I saw somebody on some old forum posts do this in a way that was different from how I did it, but I did this, and I actually have another video. I'm gonna make another video doing this a different way, because the way I did it was good, but there's an actual better way, I think, to do it. I have like a gap right there. You see the gap right there from the column to the steering wheel. And I think I have a way to eliminate that. But some people hate this. Some people would hate this mod. I think it's really cool, but also because, you know, it's silver, right? So the silver kind of matches the outside of the car. It's a very close silver color, which is really cool. So in my case, it works really well. You probably saw the cup holder in the last video. That is the dual cup holder. That is the company that makes the 3D printed plastic ones. I also have new carpet in here that I put in, and it's the black stuff, is the really, really thick stuff. And then I got floor mats from Lloyd here. But if I can give you any piece of advice for the carpet, if you're going to install a carpet in one of these, this is a whole brand new carpet. I went with the thickest, most like sound deadening option you could get, like with the real thick butyl rubber underneath, then like really thick carpet. It was a little harder to install. If you get thinner carpet, it's going to be a lot easier to install. This stuff was a nightmare to maneuver around and get in, but I got it in, right? These seats are, of course, out of a 4th gen. It's a very easy mod. 4th gen Camaro or Firebird seats, they bolt right into here. 4th gen is this right here, this is a Firebird, but Camaro's also had these seats as well. So anything 4th gen like that will work. And it's literally plug and play with these. And they look a lot better, and I like, compared to the 3rd gen seats, these look a lot better, I think. And they hug your body more. These side bolsters really work, which is really nice. It feels really good and comforting sitting in it. I also took my gray plastics out and installed black plastics. I thought that would look better all around, just a gray and black look. If you can see over there, the kick panel is gone. That's because I'm doing an experiment with those Q Acoustic kick panel speaker enclosures. I'm gonna be trying to make one of those work and sound pretty good. So I'll maybe do a future video on that. So again, there will be future videos on this, just not a ton, just kind of smaller things. And you've probably seen my videos with my speakers. There's speakers, I haven't even attached this dash, so I can pull it out and show you some of the speakers I got. If you can see here in the front, I have these Infinity speakers, and I'll link these down below. These sound great. Those Infinity speakers sound great, but I think a pair of 6.5s like in the kick panel would sound a lot better. And then the rears are 6x9s, but they're behind the sail panels, and I'll show you some B-roll here of them installed and whatnot. And then let's hit the old trunk button. Isn't that cool? Now with subwoofer, I originally had a box that was 2 12s, and it had 2 dual ports in the middle, and it was just like a prefab box you could buy off eBay. You can't get them anymore, and I have mine still, but I went with a custom box, right, for a Type R 12, and it's tuned to 32 Hertz with the port over here. And this sounds immensely better. If you've ever had like car systems and like sometimes they don't sound good, sometimes they get those real low, deep lows and they sound really good. Like if you have like a ported box, it's the tuning of the box. I've realized that tuning a box, getting a box tuned makes all the difference. And then I have here my JL Audio RD 900/5. These things are pretty cool. I still have to go in and like organize my wiring, and I'll probably loom them in black and like run them along the side here or something like that. This amp is really cool because it can tune itself. It gives you these clipping lights right here to where you can set a tone and send it through your speakers, and then this clipping light shows you when it's clipping, and it lets you set the gain on your amp like perfectly. Type R Alpine 12 in this box with the custom box with the 32 Hertz tuned port sounds amazing, let me tell you. And I think you're gonna notice, if you didn't notice before when I opened it, you know, you get your auto when you open the trunk, and then mine pops open. I got new hoods, or the rear hatch struts, those help a lot. And I also realigned my rear glass with billet hatch hinges. So if you look in there, you'll see those billet hatch hinges right there. These came from Hawks. And now these are pricey, right? It's just the hinges, like the old metal hinges, but they're a billet version of them. Now, what I did find is that there's people on Amazon selling these. I don't know if they're the same thing as what Hawks is selling, but they are selling them for like 60 bucks. Like the ones on Hawks are like $300 or $400. Now I can't assume that they're the same thing. I don't know, but there are, and I'll link them down below. There are some of these that are 60 bucks, and that is like the best way, or the only way really, to align your rear to where you don't have. Normally on these, this middle part, your trunk lid is extended out to here because the hatch hinges just sag over time, the factory ones. So it lets this whole hatch just kind of lazily glide on back over time. And that also ruins your motors in here as well. So that's definitely a mod I'd recommend if you have an uneven, you obviously know, if you have one of these, you've seen the Camaro has this and then the rear hatch is out to here and it goes back. That's just, it's just a 3rd gen thing. A pretty good segue into the exterior of the car. Now, wheels and tires, these are 18-inch. These are the IROC replica wheels that you would just see all over. I'll link some down below, but they're just the regular IROC 18-inch wheels. I did a whole video on them. These are 18-inch, and then I actually installed these Rydans. They were just some off-brand thing that had good reviews, these off-brand tires, Rydan Roadster R02. I'll tell you what, you know, they've been really good. I've put some miles on this thing and I haven't had a flat, I haven't had a leak. It's been great. And also indicative of I have a stock engine. So my cars that I build or restore, I'm not racing them around and stuff like that. I just cruise it and I get groceries and I do my daily tasks in them. So these tires haven't seen any hard miles or anything. They're just out using for street use. So take with that what you will, but I've had just a pretty pleasant experience with these tires, and they were really, really budget. One of the other things you might notice is this car came factory polo green from GM. It's kind of a rare color option, I was told. And I didn't like the green. I liked the car, but I didn't like the green that much. And so I changed it to silver. The exact shade of color is Iron Man silver. It's actually a factory Hyundai silver for the Hyundai Velosters. So that's the actual silver that it is. As you can see here, these aren't the RS. Mine's a 92 RS. These are not what you would find on a 92 RS. These are just aftermarket OER hood louvers that I bought and installed myself. If you have the hood blisters, those will just pop right off and these will install right in the same exact space. So you can buy these for like, what, 150, 200 bucks and slap them in there if you have the hood blisters and you want to get that look. You can also go with the functional louvers. I don't want to cut my hood though, and I'm not street racing, so I don't really need any like horsepower gains. Also on the exterior as well, I got a grill that is with the silver lettering to kind of match the paint. These grills, the OER ones, they're pricey. They're like 300, 400 bucks, I think. I got mine for like 60 bucks. I don't know why the price jump. My headlight buckets were originally paint matched to the car, and then I just vinyled over them. That was a pretty easy project. I just took some black vinyl and some knifeless tape. And the vinyl, you can see, I didn't stretch it completely right, because there's some spots here where you can see the bubbling is starting to happen, like I didn't get it down enough. And I might have to redo it, but redoing it would take like 7 minutes. You saw the headlights and you saw the front turn signals, of course, in the light video. I'll show you what they look like during the day if you want. This is what they look like during the day when I ride around, if I have my daytime running lights on. I also got these really cool flush door handles. Normally you'd see the protruding door handles. These are like kind of a flush fit. These are a little bit expensive. I think they're like $200 to $300, but they are pretty cool. One thing I wish I did was I wish I would have done this before I painted the car, because you can see the outline. Before we go underneath, while I got the hood open, I'll show you some of the stuff I did in here. There's not a lot I've done. I put an open air cleaner on there just for looks, I guess. Oh, come on, you're gonna look stupid on camera, dude. You gotta get this the right way. There we go. There we go, to get the bow tie the right way. That would have been bad. People would have made fun of me. That I did. I also got these reservoirs, which are like the original like white plastic ones. They yellow over time. So if you think that they're supposed to be yellow, they're not. They're supposed to be white. So that was like a cheap little like $100 mod that like made a lot of difference in the engine bay. I also did a 6AN fuel line instead of the hard fuel line. I had some kind of fuel problem and I was like eliminating issues, so I ran a whole new fuel line. But like ICT Billet makes an adapter you can plug right into there. Again, you can look at the video and I list all the parts. You can run a 6AN line from your TBI all the way to the back of your fuel pump. But this is my engine bay. Again, nothing special. It's kind of like a very factory looking engine bay. There's nothing real special going on at all. I mean, I have been retrofitted to R134A, but that was before I got the car. So Gotta love that. So here in a second, I'll throw this up on the lift and show you all the underside stuff that I did, like the exhaust and whatnot. But in general, you can kind of understand what I'm doing here is just restoring and then adding things like a subwoofer or a cool, like to me, cool Camaro steering wheel from a 5th gen Camaro, stuff like that. Lowering it. Oh, here, let me show you the stance. This is on the iBox Sportline springs, which I think is like a 1.5 inch or 2.5 drop. Let me kind of get you back here so you can see the stance of it. Yeah, I know iBox makes 2 series of lowering springs for this. This is the Sportline version. I know there's a Sportline and like I forget the name of the other one, but this is the Sportline. But yeah, the gist I was going for here was just restoring it, making it look nice. I'm thinking about going back to 16-inch wheels on this. The 18s they don't look crazy like the people that put 22s on these things, but I feel like going back to 16s would feel a lot better, like on the road. It's not horrible, but it's definitely, when you lower a car and you put 18s on it, it's not gonna be the smoothest ride like it was originally from the factory. There's no way it's even close. But I'll tell you something, this is my favorite car in the whole wide world, probably because this car is like what started this channel and started me working on cars. And this car made me like fall in love with GM products. As many faults as there are with like interior plastics and just little nitpicky stuff, this thing runs. This is the factory 305 motor. I've had one issue with this, and it was like an aftermarket fuel pump that I put in it, and the connection from the outside of the fuel pump wasn't going into the, it's just a weird thing that happened. Sorry, I had a phone call there. But yeah, as much nitpicking you can do with like old GM products and old GM cars, the interior creaks and there's cheap plastics and you don't like the F-body frame design or whatever it may be. I mean, these cars, I put the key in, I start it, and it goes. And I've got what, 120, let me look how many miles I got on this thing. This is the original motor. Mileage is, I got 110,000 on this thing. For any of the random faults it has, whatever GM did for some of the cheap stuff they cheaped out on, it makes more than makes up for it with, it just goes, right? And the other thing is this thing just looks so cool. I mean, forgive me for saying this, this is the coolest looking Camaro ever made. I mean, this generation is the best. You get in this thing, you got the T-tops off and you just go cruising, and it's a great experience. I tell you what, you can't beat it. So let's get this thing up on the lift and I'll show you all the stuff on the underside and then we'll end the video there. Okay, now as far as undercar stuff goes, the big thing you're gonna see here is the 9-bolt rear diff right there. It has a different cover on it, but this is the 9-bolt, so it gives me the rear disc brakes, and that is the high-end, the PBR, whatever disc brakes. I also got a new sway bar and new brake lines and stuff like that as well. You're gonna see my iBox Sportline lowering springs right there and right there. They've been great. And then my exhaust, which has kind of evolved over time, first started off with a MagnaFlow back here, or a Flowmaster. It started off with a Flowmaster back here. It's a very similar to the factory one like this, but I started off with a Flowmaster and it sounded a little loud, so I went with a MagnaFlow, which quieted it down, made it a little smoother and a little bit deeper of a tone, and I like that a lot. And I'll put some clips in here of the different exhaust sounds. I'll be doing a video here soon comparing, because I went from that to basically a 3-inch pipe with a cat delete, and don't tell the federal government please, and a factory muffler from a 4th gen, but I believe they put these on some of the 3rd gens with these rectangle tips on them, with those tips. But it is a GM exhaust, as you can see there. You'll see my lowering springs up front. You'll also notice one of my lower control arms is new and one is old. I replaced one of them because it needed replaced, and you're not gonna be able to find lower control arms for 92 Camaros, 82 to 92. What you do is you gotta get S10 lower control arms, and they're the same thing. They're exactly the same thing. I think there's a little bit of a difference with like a, there's like a little bump stop on the side that's a little bit bigger or something like that, but essentially they're the same exact thing. It works great. So if your lower control arms look like that and you want them to look all spanking brand new like that, just get them from, just order them for an S10. I also did a TDS Wonder Bar. You can see, I think it's top-down solutions or something like that. Total dynamic solution, top-down solutions. Who knows what it means, but TDS Wonder Bar is great. It gives you an extra anchor point off there to the side. Instead of just the two, it gives you a third anchor point, which is cool. You can also see here my fuel system, this 6AN line running from the back. It's the braided line. It goes into that fuel filter right there. That's an Evil Energy. So my PTFE line runs from there all the way to there. And I did a whole video on that too, so you can look at that as well if you want to see how I installed that. When I lowered it, I put on new lower control arms. And then the, oh gosh, I never remember the name of this bar that goes across the back. It is the pan hard bar. That's what it's called, pan hard bar. Such a weird name for a thing, pan hard bar. The only things left that I want to do on the underside is get a cool, like a black, the torque arm, whatever you call it, that runs all the way up to the transmission that runs back here. I kind of want to get one of those, a tubular one, just because it would look cool under here. I'm not under here all the time, but when you have a lift, you tend to be under your car more than normal. And the cooler it looks, the more I just want to sit under here, you know, awaiting imminent doom of this thing falling upon me. But you know, that'd be the way to go. But I sit under here and just stare at like how cool it is. And I love it. Ooh, a little bonus mod, if you're having any kind of evap issues, get yourself one of these little filters. I'll link it down below as well. Those little filters, you wouldn't think it would cause you problems, and they're like $3. Nobody ever changes them. Just get another one of them. Stick it on there. But yeah, guys, this is my Camaro. This is a pretty much, like I said, almost complete project. There'll be some small things that I do still. I need to do different door seals. I'm gonna do some of that stuff I talked about with the underside, and I'll film videos on stuff like that. But for pretty much this project is done. And I'll be kind of moving on to the project of this 2002 Trans Am. And really, there's not a lot that needs to be done on that, but there are some things that needs to be restored on it, and I can show you some cool stuff on what to do with it. This is a car that I'll probably have until the day I die. I don't see any plans of ever selling this car. It holds a lot of sentimental value for me, being like the first car that I ever worked on, and like, it's just a great car, man, I tell you what. If you're contemplating like, should I get a 3rd gen Camaro? Yes, you should. They're great, get one. But anyways, guys, any questions you have about any of the stuff I got on here, just throw it in the comment section down below. I'll try to get back to you. Most of my content on this channel is car related, so if you're into this kind of stuff, you can subscribe. Leave a like on the video if you like the project, you like the car, you like the video. Gosh dang it, if you liked me, you know, leave one there. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.